What up, YouTube? YouTube. Today you got something new. As you can tell, your boy gave myself a haircut. I kind of messed up on this part, but it's part of learning, so I ain't too mad because his hair is gonna grow back. But what up, OBS? I see myself right here, y'all. See y'all. Camera right here. But we back again with the DMT book, and today we're learning what DMT is, Chapter 2. So. Ooh, I should make a story time, but I'm pretty sure that story time is illegal. So I might have to hold on to that one. But where I've been at, I've been in Mexico. I've been in Cancun, Mexico. Let's start reading though, because I got a lot of shit I gotta do today. N-ditryptamine, the DMT, the remarkable main character of this book. While chemically simple, the spirit molecule provides our conscious access to the most amazing and unexpected visions, thoughts, and feelings. It throws open the door to worlds beyond our imagination. DMT exists in all of our bodies and occurs throughout the plant and animal kingdoms. It is part of the normal makeup of humans and other mammals, marine animals, gases and peas, toads and frogs, mushrooms and mold, barks, flowers, roots. Psychedelic alchemist Alexander Shulgin devotes an entire chapter to DMT in the call Ditamines I have known and loved. He aptly entitles the chapter DMT is everywhere and declares DMT is in the flower here, in that tree over there, and in a wonderful animal. It is most simply almost everywhere to choose to look. Indeed, it is getting to the point where one report. Look at that posture, bro. There we go. DMT is the most abundant plant in Latin America. There, humans have known its amazing properties for some tens of thousands of years. However, it's only in the last 150 years that we have gained some inkling of the antique of DMT relationship with our species. Beginning of the mid-1800s, explorers of the Amazon, particularly Richard Spruce from England and Alexander von Humboldt from Germany, described the effects of exotic mind-altering snuffs and brews. I've been hearing about that snuff. I might just buy it because it's all around me. But pretty much what it is, it's snorting tobacco, and you use something called a killish or a taklish. I'm pretty sure those are the right names for it. But you blow it through your nose, and then it's like you get this sacred spiritual awakening type shit. Latin American indigenous tribes continue to use the three snuffs and have given them many names, including Yopa, Epina, Germa. They have huge doses, sometimes an ounce or more. Damn. Damn. An ounce. The Hoppe, that's what it was. Hoppe is only like. The energy of the black. However, went so far as to see for themselves what they were like. It was enough to watch the intoxicated Indians twitching, vomiting, and babbling incoherently. These early explorers heard take of fantastic visions and out-of-body travel, pre-dimensions of the future, located of lost objects in contact with dead ancestors or other disembodied entities. Another plant mixture, this one consumed as beverage, seemed to produce similar effects at a lower pace. This brew also went to several names, including ayahuasca and yage. This drink inspired much rock and paintings that are what would be called psychedelic art today. Spruce and von Humboldt brought samples of these world psychedelic plants back home to Europe. These are the plants that lay for decades as neither the interest nor the technology existed for further analysis of the chemical makeup of effects. I'm just read like this, baby. While psychedelic plants languish in natural history, museum archives, Canadian chemist R. Matsky and unleaded research synthesized a new drug called N-dimethyltryptamine, or DMT as he described it in a 1931 scientific article. Mansik had made several compounds delivered by chemistry modifying thiamine. He was interested in these products because they occurred in a toxic North American plant, the strawberry shrub. DMT was one of these. As far as anyone knows, Maske made DMT, noted in structure, and the places supply in some isolated corner of its laboratory, where its quietly collected dust. No one yet knew about DMT existent in mind-altering plants, its psychedelic properties, or its presence in human body. There was little interest in psychedelics in scientific circles until decades later. The World War II and the early 1950s discoveries of LSD and the serotonin rocked the staid foundations of Freudian psychiatry and laid the groundwork for the new world of neuroscience. Curiosity about psychedelic drugs was intense among the growing circle of scientists who called themselves psychopharmacologists. Chemists began probing the banks, leaves, and seeds of plants, first described as barks, my fault, as psychedelics 100 years earlier, seeking active ingredients. The tryptamine family was logical place to focus, as both serotonin and LSD are tryptamines. Success was not long in coming. In 1946, Ogonclaves isolated DMT from a South American tree used for psychedelic snuffs, published his findings in Spanish. In 1955, M.S. Fish, N.M. Johnson, and E.C. Horney published the first English-language paper describing DMT presence in another closely related snuff-producing tree. However, they knew that DMT was a continuum of plants that produce psychedelic effects. In the 1950s, Hungarian chemist and psychiatrist Steve Cesar read about the profound mind-altering effects of LSD and mescaline. He ordered some LSD from Sandoz Laboratories so he could begin his own studies into the chemistry and consciousness. Since Sarah was behind the iron, the Swiss drug company was unwilling to risk letting their powerful LSD fall into communist hands, and they turned that into his request. Undaunted, he looked up to recent papers describing DMT's presence in psychedelic Amazon snuffs. He then synthesized some DMT in the Budapest laboratory in 1955. Cesar swallowed every increasing dose of DMT but felt nothing. He tried making up 1 full gram, hundreds of thousands of grams, more than an active dose of LSD. He wondered whether something in his gastrointestinal system was preventing oral DMT from working. Maybe it needed to be injected. His hunch predated the later discovery that there is a molecule in the gut that breaks down the DMT as quickly as it is swallowed. A mechanism that South American native hunter way bypassed thousands of years ago. In the spirit of who goes first, Hazar gave himself a intramuscular or IM injection of DMT in 1956. In this case, he used about half of what we know about to be a full dose. In 3 or 4 minutes, I started to experience visual sensations that were similar to what I had read in the description by Hoffman Laboratory, LSD, and Huxley about mescaline. I got very, very excited. It was obvious this was a secret. At the same time, eidetic phenomena later trails pizza hallucinations, and later real hallucinations appeared. The hallucinations consisted of moving brilliantly colored, oriented, modified, and later I saw wonderful senses altering very rapidly. The voices of the people seemed to be masked. My emotion state was elevated, sometimes up to euphoria. My consciousness was completely filled by hallucinations, and my mind altering was firmly bound on them. Therefore, I could not give an account of events happening around me. After 45 minutes to an hour, the symptoms disappeared, and I was able to describe what had happened. Cesar quickly recruited 30 volunteers, most young Hungarian physical colleagues. They all received full psychedelic dose. One makes physician reported, "The whole world is brilliant. The whole room was filled with spirits. It makes me dizzy. Now it's too much. I feel exactly as if I were flying. I had the feeling about this dose to earth. If it's comforting to know that I'm back to earth again. Everyone has a spiritual team, but it's so real. I feel that I have landed." A female physician stated how simple everything is. In front of me are 2 quiet sunlight gods. I think they were welcoming me into this new world. There is a deep silence, as in the desert. I am finally at home. Dangerous game. It would be so easy not to return. I am faintly. Oh man, my neck, y'all. All right. I am faintly aware that I am a doctor, but this is not important. very remote for me. Only this world is important. I am free and utterly alone. The Western world had discovered DMT, and DMT had entered into the consciousness. Despite the occasional bad trip among his volunteers, Cesar liked the story acting DMT. It was relatively easy to use. Full psychedelic and experiment could be done in just a few hours. After escaping Hungary, enrolled him in an LSD study. Finally, Cesar could try his fabled psychedelic. While he found his effects interesting, its 12-hour duration too long for his liking. Upon immigration to the U.S., Cesar's primary research continued to be DMT. It served him well in the new job at the National Institutes of Health in Birchtown, Maryland, where he would work for 3 years. 3 decades. He served as the director of Pollock Research at the National Institution on Drug Abuse for many years before retiring in 1991. Other groups confirmed and expanded Cesar's discovery that DMT must be injected to work. However, it is surprising how little detailed information research other than Cesar gave him regarding its psychological properties. For example, after Cesar left Hungary, his former laboratory, only that DMT in normal volunteers causes a psychic state by colored hallucinations, loss of time and space reality, euphoria, some delusional experience, and sometimes by anxiety and clouding of consciousness. One of the busiest American Center for Human Psychedelic Research was the Public Service Hospital in Lexington, Kentucky. There, men serving prison sentences for narcotic law violations received dozens of mind-altering drugs, hoping their research participants might lead to more favorable treatment.